ASC headquarters in Dallas. I'm here with Robert Reyes, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of introduction to who Robert is and a bit of his history and experience in the oil and gas industry. So, good afternoon, Robert. Good to see you again, mate.
Good afternoon. Great to see you.
I just want to give the guys back at home in Australia a sense of your expertise and what you've done, because it sounds like you've been instrumental to bringing the Colorado deal to ASC. So before we go into that, can you just tell the guys at home, who you are and what your experience is in the oil and gas industry?
Sure. My name's Robert Reyes. I'm an engineer. I live in East Odessa, Texas, and my office is in Midland.
Yeah.
I have just under 20 years experience working for a company called Halliburton, where I was the new product development champion of North America. That's a fancy word for manager.
Yeah.
Did that, great job. I tied up with some good colleagues of mine, good friends. We tied up 23,000 acres in Howard County, and we found a buyer out of China, and I founded a company named Harmonia Petroleum, where I was the GM, general manager, pretty much the technical arm of the company.
Mm.
Yeah, we did a lot of good things. We drilled 18 vertical wells.
Yeah.
We fracked 14 and produced out of 15. We had one more producer than we fracked.
Perfect. That's a good strike rate, isn't it?
It's a good ratio.
So, how long have you been involved with ASC for? Because obviously, it's your relationship with ASC. You're bringing the Colorado deal. There's other deals that you're bringing to the table as well. So, how do you get to be in partnership with Alpha 7?
Okay, that's a great question. I guess as an engineer, your reputation is very important. Start with Colorado. The Mosley family, who is the owner of that project, somebody, I cannot remember who, but somebody recommended them come and see me, and they drove out to West Texas, and we had a nice conversation. We've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
It's a family that really wanted to get a well drilled on their land, and they came to me for help, which as friends, that's one thing I'm going to help them do, is get that well drilled.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about. Just the process of looking for funds and good people to surround me with to get that well drilled for the Mosley family. And then also to produce oil out of that county. There's zero oil production in that county. We'll be the first.
So Del Norte is the town.
Project in Borden County, that's Harmonia.
Yeah.
The northern section, I was needing to find a new owner for it. We ran into a time when we were not going to put any more money into the project, and I needed to find a new owner.
Yeah.
So my relationship is bringing these two projects over, looking for funding and having relationships in your organization.
Yeah. So how long have you known Chris for? Because Chris was obviously the president, managing partner of the company. Good guy, but how have you known Chris?
Chris is a very, very respectful and nice man.
Yeah, he is.
I've known Chris I want to say about 2 years.
Yeah.
I was introduced from another colleague of mine, Hal Ridderhuber knew Chris.
Yeah.
Hal and I had always wanted to work together for years, and this was an opportunity where we could come together, me bring my two projects, if you will,
Yeah.
to this group through Hal, who is another work colleague of mine.
Yeah, he's an operator, isn't he? He's the hands-on type of guy.
Right, he'll oversee many operations.
Yeah.
Like I said, we always wanted to work together. We're friends, and we also always wanted to work together. So those two things come together. We brought Alpha 7 into the mix, looking for funding so we can do the activities we need in these two projects.
And what would you say, obviously, we predominantly, Alpha 7 Energy, we are setting up a Gold Coast office in Australia. We are going to be the gateway for Australian investors to take advantage of this very exciting opportunity. What would you say to someone back at home that's never invested in oil and gas before, like in a nutshell, what basically the opportunity is, for example, say the Colorado project, just in a 1-minute snapshot?
Well, as an investor, I could just imagine the good deals that are brought to them. Every deal is a good deal.
Yeah.
But how much do they know about it?
Yeah.
What I would say is hopefully you find a good deal. Oil and gas is a very good opportunity. Make sure you have somebody on board that understands the technical part of how the nuts and bolts work in that opportunity, to where they can paint a picture in your head to to where you're confident moving forward.
Yeah.
The Mosley family, for instance.
That's why they seek you, because
That-
your reputation of Halliburton.
I had a good reputation. I always worked on my ethics.
Yeah.
I never wanted to paint a false picture in anybody's head. If it was bad news, it's the news they're going to get,
Yeah.
and I believe we can deal with that. But, we've turned it into good news, but you got to have an ethical partner who's going to paint the right picture in your head that's accurate.
Yeah.
I would say, as an investor, make sure you have that person.
Yeah. And with the investors at home, do you believe that the relationship between, this is probably quite a loaded question here, but do you believe that we've got the right partnership here now with Alpha 7, with obviously Moho, and obviously your expertise as well? Do you think we've now got the perfect combination of experience and that expertise?
Well, to answer your question, absolutely I do, or I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
I've got 20 plus years experience as an engineer in West Texas. I always stayed in West Texas for a reason. I didn't want to be somebody traveling all over the place. I wanted to be an expert in my area because I found value in that.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm all that, but I know what I'm doing.
You do.
I understand Mr. Hal Huber does too on the operations. We complement each other. I've got a group of people that I would bring in for the operations part, things like blowback, productions on surface. Items like this, with the Alpha 7 group, I love the bonding and the connection that this group has been able to put together in a really short time. I feel there's a lot of trust. Everybody knows their part.
They do.
I've been totally impressed with the relationships internally in this group.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I've actually just come on board with ASC in the last few months. I've been watching. I'm very good friends with Dylan Knight. I've known Dylan for over 10.5 years now.
Okay.
So for the last year and a half, he's been saying oil and gas, and I'm predominantly in the property market, developing with asset management companies. And exactly what you've just said there, Robert. It just seems like we've now got all the pieces of the puzzle together. We've got the right people at the right time. Oil prices are high. Gas prices of like $4.60, I think they were the other day. So it's almost like, when you get your ducks in a line, that's why I've now come on board, because we went down to the Sabine Parish County 3-well project. We saw phase 3 and we saw the first well in phase 2. When you actually put your boots on the ground and they were actually swabbing the well, you smell the oil, you get to sense and experience what it's all about. And ever since that moment, I've got this kind of, the passion for the oil and gas industry has just grown exponentially. I'm like, you were saying where, and this, I don't know if we actually got this on camera, we're getting it now, which is important. You were saying that when you're in the oil and gas industry, even when you're not working, you're still talking about the oil and gas industry. So it sounds like you've probably got a huge amount of passion for what you do.
Well, you have to. For one thing, to start as an engineer for Halliburton, it's a big test of whether or not you can survive, because your training involves doing things all day long and all night long where you don't even sleep.
Really?
In your early years, yes. So you're kind of tested. It's kind of a young man's job. So you really have to want to be there. And there's a lot of people that leave it because of that. It's tough. It's hard. It's a lot of hours. Yeah. And there's also a lot of information to learn. I've crossed the line from a logging engineer, a cement engineer, and a frac engineer. I've done all three, which is rare. I've been told it's rare. Yeah. But I had a passion of wanting to learn these sciences. It was a lot of fun. I had the energy. I feel like I'm kind of maybe losing it. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's a great industry. And the comment you're saying that, when you go out to eat with doctors and lawyers, rarely do you talk about work. Yeah. But in the oil and gas community, when you go out to eat after hours, it seems that's what you talk about. You talk about work. And I realized that not too long ago when I talked to my brother, who's a doctor, and he gets home from work and he's tired, and the last thing he wants to do is talk about work. And coming to my house, so any of my oil and gas friends over, all you do is talk about oil and gas. I mean, it gets in your blood. Yeah. It's an excitement. The Borden County Harmonia one and the Colorado, yes. Those are very low risk. It's not exploration. Like, for instance, in Borden County, I've drilled 18 vertical wells. I know where the pay zones are. Yeah. Every well I fracked made oil. without a shadow of doubt, my expert opinion says the Wolfcamp A is going to produce oil every time. There are 0 dry holes there.
0.
0.
And of how many holes?
You can drill anywhere in that area, and you're going to hit the Wolfcamp A every time, every single time.
I like them odds.
They're good odds, but you still have to drill the hole.
Yeah.
It's easy drilling country, versus an area such as the Delaware Basin. That's hostile area. You drill that thing, you better have your A team and your A game on. In my part of the country, in Howard County, it's relatively easy drilling. You still got to watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's flat formations, pore pressure's very, I don't want to say low, but it's not screaming high, where it's blow you out of the hole. So it's relatively, like I said, easy drilling country. You got to watch what you're doing, but we drilled 18 holes and never had a problem. We drilled a 2-mile lateral, did not have a problem. 2 miles, no problems. Drilled it in, I want to say 32 days, and that's with the drilling rig breaking down 8 times. But
Will be, as you Americans say, a home run. So I really appreciate your time, Robert. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
my pleasure.
I'm looking at doing more business with you in the future.
Likewise.